When you think about our nation and all the different challenges we face, one of the big factors in our racial division has been critical race theory. And much of it has been exploited, used, almost weaponized to create division and to someone's political advantage. But if you really understand critical race theory, you know it's past its time. It was developed in the 1950s and 60s to express the challenges we faced as a nation due to Jim Crow. And there was true systemic racism at that time. And that systemic racism created problems, challenges, and unnecessary difficulties for African Americans in particular to access American society. And when you listen to Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, he's basically outlining this is what the challenges are, the things that we face. You know, whether it was you couldn't get a hotel along the highway because you were black, or you couldn't eat at certain restaurants, or you had to drink out of certain water fountains. All the pieces of a puzzle that were way, way out of line that created problems and challenges. That's why critical race theory was brought to bear. But if you go back and you look at Dr. King's dream, if you go back and understand the Civil Rights Act of 1964, that it shattered Jim Crow, it destroyed the systemic racism that was so much a problem for our country. Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech spells out everything so clearly. And what people fail to acknowledge is that everything he dreamt of has come to pass. As a nation, we overcame it. We put it aside and we move forward. Except some people have a huge benefit by keeping the issues intact as it relates to race and try to categorize our nation still to be under Jim Crow and systemic racism, but we're not. The reality for America is this, is that I as a black man can afford to buy a house. I can buy a house in any neighborhood I choose. If I want to eat at a certain restaurant, I go there and I eat at that restaurant without hassle, without conflict, without problems. If I want to stay in a hotel, as long as I can pay the bill, I am welcome there. Our nation has moved forward, but some politicians have a benefit of getting elected if they can keep the black vote intact. And that is a shame. That is a sad, tragic reality of America today. Racism isn't like we faced in the 1960s. It isn't like we faced under Jim Crow. We've moved forward as a nation, but some people want to pull us back because in their world, power comes from playing the race card. And you listen to people who are constantly talking about racism, they have a benefit. If they can keep racism intact, they can get elected and hold public office. And that's been one of the real challenges when we look at it for dealing with the race problem is black politicians. So often they play the race card to keep the vote intact. They get rewarded handsomely. The party makes sure they're taken care of. They get elected, hold public office. They get the benefits of being a congressman. But the communities they serve get very little, if anything, in terms of change and making a difference. I think it's ironic when you think about the Congressional Black Caucus, an organization, an entity that's been in existence since 1971. And here we are in 2025, 54 years later. And I challenge you to go and find one piece of legislation that was sponsored, that came out of the Congressional Black Caucus, that reduced crime, improved education, or expanded economic opportunity for Black America. The legislation does not exist. It's a shame that a group can say for 54 years, we're here for Black America, but not do a thing to address the serious and critical issues that face the community. The race card is played not because of racism, but for political purposes and to keep certain people in office. And we all know that if 95% of the black vote goes Democrat every year, and without that, no Democrat will ever be elected president of the United States again. We saw that in 2024. So yes, they have a vested interest in playing the narrative and playing the game. It's a tragedy that they use it to divide America when there's no need for that, when we should be coming together like we did to pass the Civil Rights Act, like we did to integrate schools, like we did to make the world a better place. One of the things Dr. King talked about in his I Have a Dream speech was blacks and white holding hands at the table of brotherhood. Think about it. I'm an old football guy. One of the most clear evidences of how we've come forward in America is the sports world. And I'm going to take you specifically to the University of Alabama, where a guy named Paul Bear Bryant pushed for integration, brought blacks, whites together, brought them into an organization, learned to work together, learned to overcome the prejudice and biases of the past, and form something that would be a definition of American greatness. See, we as a nation have moved far beyond what critical race theory had to fight. And yet we're being pulled back by that very same force that has no value, no significant meaning, and no purpose in American society today. But for the sake of politics, people like Jasmine Crockett want to play that card. We don't need that. We need America to be focused on the positive things that we've accomplished, that common vision, common values, common purpose as a nation as we continue to move forward. Let's make America great again.